meaning your boy
No,
gets triggered.
we haven't started. Sorry, I was waiting
Oh,
on a cue from you. I'm hovering over the go live button.
oh, you can go whenever. It's all good.
All right, there you go. So what was your boy
It
doing in the
doesn't have
week?
to be. It doesn't have to be like a thing. You can just, get it started. All right.
All right.
No, I read this.
What triggered you this week? Go ahead.
Oh, I read this headline on Reddit, and of course, it's talking about how coal mines are closing and people are losing their jobs.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of things triggered me about this. But the
It's all
first thing
good.
that does
All right, there you go.
is
So what was your boy doing?
seriously the first thing I thought of was I was like, the more stuff like this that happens, you can just no matter who's like running the country, the more the more this divisiveness will fester, right? Like the more like there'll be divisions. Like this is the kind of shit that like pisses off a whole town in Wyoming, because like I didn't read it in this article because I just reread it, but I know I read something related to this article where like a lot of these towns straight up rely on one like business or like way of working. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Oh yeah.
we didn't grow up that way. We can't really fathom it that much, but you know what I'm saying? As far
Well, we
as like,
did
hey, a
though,
coal mine shuts down
because
and
Kodak
like,
like devastated Rochester.
oh, but we're not talking like these small little towns depend on literally one business. Like,
Right.
come
Right.
on.
As the
There might have
engine.
been a time where in Rochester it was like probably 40 or 50% for sure. For sure.
Yeah,
And
they
I
peaked at
bet you
like
U of R.
60,000 jobs, something like that.
Yeah.
So
So a
it's a
solid
good
amount of
chunk.
people. Yeah. U of R
Um.
probably is even still like 20, 25 now. Anywho,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, shit like this will just keep making the country unstable. Not unstable, that's an exaggeration. But it'll just continue like the divisiveness we all feel in this internet age. Because people just, they get settled in their ways and they get mad when their way gets shut down. And like obviously none of us blame people for getting mad about this. Like they should. It
Right.
just like seems like what's frustrating is that anger isn't directed into things that positively like change the situation for the better. It's just directed at like some like weirdly racist feeling like so, and that's not everybody, but you know what I'm saying.
I am curious what
So I just
percentage
worry.
of the
I just worry.
jobs this was.
For the town?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's definitely not small. Which is why like Kodak at its peak might be a good comparison, because what if this is like 40 to 50%? Like
Mm-hmm.
that's devastating.
That is
But Kodak
devastating.
never shut its doors all at once. So,
No. They ramped down quick though. Over
oh,
like
for
a
sure.
decade. Probably over, not like this. Definitely not like this.
No, they're just literally shutting their doors.
They're sending people home and telling them we don't know what the future
And then,
of this company is. Yeah.
and in the article, they like talk about how they owe a bunch of tax money.
Yeah, so they
And
owe.
I'm not raking them. I'm not raking them for that. I'm just obviously it's hard times and they're having a hard time paying bills. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So,
Well, apparently it says they owe 8.6 million in delinquent taxes.
yeah. So that's tough.
So it's crazy because it says that the demand for coal has shrunk.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's like down to 2/3 of
Mm-hmm.
what
Oh, it used to be here at this location? That's correct.
the market. Yeah. So here's what it is. All the mines in the basin are still producing, and yet the market is only 2/3 what it used to be. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So that's crazy. There must be more. Is this the last one? Like, there must be more
I don't know.
coal mine companies in Wyoming. Because apparently they do a lot of coal mining in that state.
Well,
are
let's
you
look
saying?
up. It says it's the town of Gillette, Wyoming. So let's do this real quick. Of course, a quick Google search of just Gillette would pop out. What are you gonna guess? The shaving company. Okay, Gillette, Wyoming has a population of 30,000 people. So 700 is not that big. But still, it's enough to make a rural town that relies a lot on something just feel jaded. And
In
people
what
always
way,
look for
though?
someone to blame.
So who do you think they
Um,
blame?
I mean, I guess I'm speaking from opinion first and foremost, but
Yeah. But you're saying that this leads directly into the political realm.
Well, it all depends on who your leadership is. They'll lead you right to blaming. Well, I don't know. There's so many. Like the internet is such a big influence. Facebook is shockingly and not happy with it being such a big influence, but it is. So Dad was telling me the other day, Mom's on it 2 to 3 hours a day. So.
Oh yeah. Oh, it's a
Yeah.
good majority of her free time.
I was chilling with my friends in Cleveland last weekend, and my mom texts me, "What are you doing in Cleveland?" And I was like, "How the fuck does she know? Like, what?" And I didn't think about it, but we had one on this trip. I had mostly friends old friends I had known, but we had one new friend, a newer friend of ours, and it's our first trip with him. And he tagged me in like 5 things on Facebook. So your boy had to go ahead and send a sternly worded text to him telling him to not do that again.
What does it matter though?
Well, because it triggers mom, especially people like mom. Like Dad told me that mom came up to him and started asking questions about Vale and like, why is Cyril there? What's going on?
Oh.
Like I'd just rather her not be thinking stupid shit. If mom could control herself and be like, oh, he's probably just in Cleveland because it's the closest city over, and they're going to places because he's literally checking in with his weird friend. You know what I'm saying? It's just common sense.
You know what Mom needs? She needs a good hobby to replace Facebook.
Anyways.
She's got too much free time.
Anyway.
That's hilarious.
This shit is divisive, and this kind of stuff just is an actual real life reinforcer for people who think like, people are out to get them, and
their way of life is.
You ever see these statistics, and this relates to this. You ever see these statistics of like rural suicide by white men? It's pretty bad, dude.
Yeah, that one surprised me. Here, let's do something.
Slightly Google it. Yeah, go ahead, Google it. It's crazy. It's not good, man. So,
suicide. The first link immediately says suicide rate highest in decades, but worst in rural America. So this will be interesting.
That's what I'm saying. It's not good, and it's
Look at this. Look at the 2 states that have the highest.
Oh shit! I'm not even looking at it. You're sharing your screen or something?
The 3 states. Actually, you can. I'm not.
Share your screen. Share your screen.
All right, hold up.
Well, if that'll F with the thing, then don't.
It might.
Yeah, don't do it. Anywho.
Look at this. So it's Montana, Alaska, and Wyoming recording.
Slap a link for your boy.
Rates. 25.4 deaths per 100,000.
Well, listen, just the raw numbers are whatever because like you don't know them in context. But when you hear that, like, hey, this is the highest out of a lot of places, it's like, okay, that's not good. Like,
yeah,
what are they doing? I can't even get there. What's happening? Oh, continue. There we go. Dude, that exactly what I just said. This headline is perfect because it starts bad for what I just said, and then it gets worse.
It gets worse.
Suicide rate highest in decades, but worst in rural America. Oh.
What's actually driving up overall suicide rates isn't fully understood, but there's general consensus that it's a range of things. One often cited factor is the economy. Is this one paragraph.
Dude. Inequality soaring. People
Drugs.
Getting left behind.
Alcohol.
Prescription pills not helping.
Prescription pills. Heroin.
A lot of stuff going on. And going back to this article, losing coal mining jobs, not good. Not good. These are the people that are real susceptible.
See, this is fascinating too, because when we start thinking about
wait, real quick before I let you go on this.
Yeah.
To be fair, like this city said they were going to try to do a lot of like
I did see that.
retraining and stuff. So like cross your fingers, but I wouldn't hold your breath. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was really pleased to see that because they're saying something and actually doing something are 2 different things. But they were talking about retraining. They were talking about helping these guys out. They're like, we have infrastructure in place that's already like designed to help people like this. So that's encouraging. But I get what you're saying. When things are bad, people want somebody to point at and blame, right? It makes dealing with bad times much better if you can just blame something. So if it goes tits up for a lot of these people, especially in an already politically charged and divided country, that's going to be one of your first things that you go after.
Mm-hmm.
This is why something's gone wrong in my life, and it's the fucking politics. It's the other guys.
Right.
But what I'm thinking about here is, what do you think it is when people don't have jobs that make them in a worse place mentally like this? Do you think it's because they don't have a job primarily, or is it because they struggle to provide? Like, do you think having a job, like being occupied...
I think first and foremost, it's a financial burden.
Right.
For sure. And then everything else just compounds on top. But doesn't necessarily have to add. It could just be financial. But then if there's more, it just compounds more.
Right.
Because like if you do feel down about not being able to provide, that stems from
that's big
financial woes. Well, no, that just literally stems from financial woes. Now, if you have financial woes and then on top of that you're feeling a lost sense of purpose,
right?
That's not good. See, these things just compound, and there can be,
full despair,
any number of things,
Yeah, I mean,
if you lose your job and your wife leaves you and she takes your kids, all kinds of stuff. Who knows, man? It's a small town, not a lot of opportunity, and 700 other people are looking for jobs.
A lot
Stress.
Of drugs. What is the unemployment
rate?
Well,
all right with the drugs. Jesus Christ.
Are you serious? That's a huge factor.
No,
it's a huge factor.
It is, and you are correct. I just felt like you were just assuming like most of them just do drugs like on top of it. Just, like, maybe a few would turn to it, but like alcohol is probably number one, which is a drug to be fair.
Alcohol is number one, but
yes, correct.
Drugs are really
which is another thing on
America
top
right now.
Because we're just pointing out things we're just pointing out things that like any of them could get into, or anybody, not these guys, but anybody.
Yeah. Well, I mean, people in bad times.
So yeah, it just compounds, right?
So
it's not good.
It's not good. It's not good.
It's not good.
Should we move on to the next one?
I think. Look, it is a little. I don't want to assume the way like this place votes, but I mean, we could. So there's obviously always a line and an argument to be made for too much government. Everybody knows that. Everybody gets that. But when it's time to hit the panic button, like we should do less thinking and more just supporting people and whatever needs to happen to like get them to the next step. You know what I'm saying? I just feel like we should, and I just don't know that these people vote necessarily in their greatest interest in that way. So that's all I'll say. And
well, it'll be interesting to see how, because obviously a large driving force behind these people voting on the right is abortion. That's a big thing. That's a very big deal, right? For that block of voters. But it would be interesting to see that when times start to get really tough, if that political preference maybe switches.
Of course it swaps. It all depends on, politics is first and foremost reflective of the times, for sure. Like if all of a sudden aliens attacked us, like the politics of our country and the planet would fucking change real quick. Real quick, okay? So if there's and it doesn't have to be aliens, if there's an existential threat of any sort, or if you're going through a depression, okay, FDR was a super liberal. It's not a coincidence that he was in power during the Depression when people were like, we just want to hit the fucking panic button. We're not listening to this, cut this and cut that. We want to hear help me. Like you're helping us.
We don't want to hear we need more free market when literally that's the reason we're all on our ass in the first place.
So a lot of it to me is reflective of the environment. And then after that, people can play the political game well enough that they can, like, even if it's not necessarily their time to shine, they can be in the right place or work hard enough like Bernie and, like, slowly climb as an independent, So, you can always, like, break out, but it takes a lot of hard work. And we're mostly just, we're human beings. We're mostly just reflective of the times and the environment. And so, like, a lot of people are predicting that Trump's going to win just because the economy's good enough.
I know.
And there's arguments to be made where that's not wrong, obviously. But there's a lot of arguments to be made where like the economy's not helping it.
I made a bet with a friend. We put some money down on the.
I already told you he's gonna win if the economy's good. I already said that.
I know you said that.
Now Biden can beat him for some reason, unless I guess as long as these polls hold up. But that just feels weird to me because Hillary lost to him, so it just doesn't feel like Biden should be able to beat him. But we forget Hillary won the popular vote, and honestly, Hillary lost by what was it like? I think a little less than 80,000 votes in 3 states total. So it was very close.
Mm-hmm.
So this idea that like Trump defied the polls in 2016 is true. This idea that like he is the runaway favorite just because he won is false. Do you know what I'm saying there?
Right.
So, Biden's polling better than Hillary was, but we're so far away. So we'll see what happens.
Shall we talk these ticket prices?
Another thing that triggered your boy.
Oh yeah. Bring it on in.
Title from Sky News. Festival charges double ticket price for non-people of color. The controversial pricing plan has led to one artist pulling out of the event, saying she was enraged by the policy.
Now this one feels like low-hanging fruit. This one feels like low-hanging fruit.
Of course it is. Of course it is.
Because this is insane.
I'm also going to point out that this is... You kind of confirm this is low-hanging fruit when you get to like them starting to quote the website, and they put SIC in a lot. Do you know what that means when they put that when they're quoting you? That means you spelled something wrong or used a word out of context. So the organizers explained their pricing in the frequently asked questions section of their event website. It stated, "Why do we have POC and non-POC tickets? I'm glad you asked. Equality means treating everyone the same," which doesn't make any... Does that make sense to you? Let me read that again for you. Quality. Why do we have people of color and non-people of color tickets? I'm glad you asked. Equality means treating everyone the same.
Wait.
It continues.
Equity.
Here
we go. Come on. There's argument for it.
Equity is ensuring everyone has what they need to be successful. Our ticket structure was built to ensure that the most marginalized communities are provided with an equitable chance at enjoying events in their own community. Mm-hmm. Now, we both think this is a little ridiculous and obviously not equal in any way, shape, or form. But like, there is a sliver of an understanding of where these people are coming from. No doubt. But they are not actually, and the artist puts it very well, they're not actually addressing the root of the problem. They're just adjusting for what potentially is at the back end, which doesn't do anything as far as like, especially America being a melting pot all these years, it doesn't do anything to help people like kind of come together. You know what I'm saying? Or it doesn't promote like a, hey, oneness mentality. It's just like, it's not addressing the root of the problem. And it's tough.
It's definitely not. And it's interesting too, because there are definitely marginalized communities in, where was this? Chicago? Detroit?
This is in Detroit.
Detroit. That are people who happen to also be white. Like, I get where they're coming from, but when I initially came across this article, I saw a top comment that said, I actually have it up right now. Seems like a local and non-local pricing structure would have worked just fine. Like, if you are just aiming to help local marginalized communities, then that's how you should measure who's paying what ticket, if that's really what you want to do. Right? If the idea is, let's keep it cheap for the people who actually are the communities around this event, because we want them there. And a lot of the times, apparently, these tickets will get bought up and then they're like resold, and there were other concerns that they had.
For sure. And that has some very reasonable like arguments. So look, really let's say you're a popular musician who is liked by like a lot of different groups of people. Like, you're just popular, right? Like, a lot of people listen to you. Okay, if you want to avoid having a concert where like your fans get ripped off, and you actually, let's say you're from the African American community and you want to promote like that community and like have more people from that community attend your event, like throw a concert where that community is.
Yeah.
And like do it in a public venue, who knows, like a gymnasium, and just charge $10 at the door.
At the door,
you know what
exactly.
I'm saying? Like there are ways to target that.
Or just sell tickets
if you're
locally
serious,
ahead of time.
If you're serious about if you're serious about like your art is what you actually want to do, and you want to help out the fans hear you live and stay connected to your fans, then take a pay cut and on some of your concerts. You don't have to do it for every concert, but you know, if you want to help them out and like target those communities and go to those communities, there's plenty of public venues everywhere. They might not be the greatest, but there's plenty of public places that you can go. Charge a few bucks at the door. You know, promoters be damned and venues be damned and the man be damned.
Just promote it locally.
Just promote it
in those communities.
You could throw those in there for the community, make no money off it, and then you can pepper in some big ass concerts where you make a bunch of money. Everybody wins.
Everybody wins.
Everybody wins. There you go.
Yeah, so it just seems like there was definitely a better way to go about this rather than either you're colored or you're a person of color or you're a non-person of color. I don't know.
There's better ways to target. There's better ways to target this. There's better ways to target this.
Especially because it seems to find the face of what you're trying to do.
That's what I'm saying. If you do have ways that you'd like to promote, like, who cares what culture you're from? Whatever culture. If you have, you know, not even culture, but like if you have just a section of the populace that you want to connect to because like you're from there, or you're from that area, do you know what I'm saying? Like then there are ways to target that can do very well. And you can balance it out with making a bunch of money on your pop concerts. But if you're from, let's say you're like, there's been countless musicians over all these years that have come from every single corner of this country and different culture of this country. And like stayed only popular in that realm. And so when they went on tour, just like most of the people could see them anyways, do you know what I'm saying? Kind of thing. It's just like if you get really popular, then it gets tough. You know, and in this modern age, like so many people can attend your concerts and there's just so many people in general. Like, well, it's crazy.
Promote it locally and just sell tickets locally.
Yeah.
You know, there are ways around this.
Yeah, exactly.
And we should update, like we should say that they've now removed this requirement. They've since got rid of the whole different ticket. Oh, that's what they did. So now what they have is everybody pays the same ticket, but for non-people of color, which is a weird term, by the way.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
They have something attached to those tickets when you buy them that give you an option to donate more when you're buying that ticket.
Okay.
So I'm pretty sure they're still like making the determination of a person of color or a non-person of color. But those people are just given prompted just the option to donate, which is also a reasonable. It still feels weird, but I think that's much more reasonable.
Hey, one love, people. One love.
Oh, God.
Okay.
You just sounded so insincere.
I guess Chad wants one war. Sounds good, dude.
I was
not being insincere. Well, I gotta work on that then.
Hey, one love.
I seriously was not being insincere. Okay, my bad.
Oh, man.
I apologize to the offended Chad.
Yeah, I accept your apology. So
thank you.
Glad you squared that one up.
Good. I didn't mean to do it.
Non-people of color.
All right.
What is wrong with white? I don't understand.
Yeah, that's what I thought you meant by saying that, and I agree. Like, just white, black is fine. Like, I don't. You know what I'm saying? I just don't know that many people that are super offended with that.
I don't think that's what
most
they're
people are
concerned
reasonable. You know.
Well, no. When they use this phrase, I think their concern is to put people of color center stage. So it's people of color and non-people of color, right? I don't think they're worried about offending white people by saying white.
For sure. You're right.
That's kind of what it feels like. I mean, that's just
but they
in the head.
Yeah. It
It centers
I understand that they want to say people of color too, because like there's a lot more than just black. So I get that, no doubt. But white is fine. Non-POC is white's probably fine. But then for
non-POC,
you know what I'm saying? White is fine for non-POC for sure. That should have been what it was. But then I don't know what they would do. They should have just been like, you know, I don't know. We're gonna leave it at that.
Yeah, that's also why is people of color a thing? Like, why is everyone?
Hopefully, they all enjoy this concert and they have a nice time. So
sure. Hopefully,
some local artists hopefully the POCs and non-POCs can coexist. Anyways,
the last thing I'll say about this is this could have been. This could have been.
I think most people. Yeah.
An attempt at publicizing said festival because they got a lot of attention for this.
Yeah, and it sure worked.
Although I'm not inclined to believe that that's what it is.
So, well, it could be because they kind of went back on it. Because they kind of went back on it. And also, I was about to say too, like I think most people think this is ridiculous. I'm sure, and so that's why they had to change it back. Mm-hmm. Like, there's no way that, like, if you're bold enough to take this stance, unless you get a wave of criticism, you're not changing it. They must have gotten a wave of criticism from, like, everybody. And not, like, disrespectful stuff, but just, like, people who are, like, reading this, like, hey, that might be illegal. Or, because it might be.
Well, first of all, it is in the article.
Right.
It is actually
well, it says it might be, to be fair. It's like, right. Well, it's kind of...
It's a little iffy. I don't know if you can do that. But what actually...
Yeah. All persons shall be entitled to the full and equal enjoyment of the goods, services, facilities, and privileges, advantages, and accommodations of any place of public accommodation as defined in this section without discrimination or segregation on the ground of race, color, religion, or national origin. Civil Rights Act of 1964.
So they were threatened to be deplatformed from the website that was selling their tickets. That was like handling all the transactions.
Oh, that's another... There you go.
They literally sent them an email, I guess, and they were like, hey, this doesn't really comply with our standards, and we don't really want to be a part of this. So they just backed off. That's the thing, though, is it's always a very small group of people that's trying to do stuff like this, and then it's like almost everybody condemns this, right?
Listen,
like, nobody in the general public, or at least not a good majority, I would say, would support something like this. Condemned equally, you know what I mean?
Because it's literally not equal, right?
Let's
talk about productive things. Let's talk about guaranteeing a livable wage job to every adult who would like one. Let's talk about that.
Let's talk about how the CBO just came out with a report that said raising the minimum wage to $15 would cause us to lose jobs, dude. 1.3 million jobs, that's what they said.
Is that what they said?
That's what they said. Sir, we can't afford.
So that means. Oh my God! It is so easy to whack that argument down.
I feel like it should be like 13.
So easy. Just
13 feels good.
Go look at the statistics on inequality. Come on.
Oh, it's bad. Yeah, it's really bad.
Go look at how fucking wealthy the wealthiest people are. Come on.
Yeah, but Cyril, people trying to raise family. The only people that work minimum wage jobs are teenagers and students.
Dude, it's not even that. You know how much good we could do if we have the defense budget and took it and invested in the country? So much good, dude. So much money.
That's a lot of money. That is a lot of money.
So much money. We could guarantee, I think it's like we could guarantee Medicare for all, community college, and like universal daycare. It's like, what? Why don't we do that? What are we doing?
Yeah.
Come on, dude.
I'm inclined to believe that we could do more than that, even with the amount.
You know what I'm getting sick of? Last thing, because we can't have these long. We talked about this, but I'm getting sick of these articles that are like, oh, Bernie Sanders admitted Medicare for all means you're paying more in taxes. Duh, but it means you're not paying your premium anymore. So take your premium, okay? I want you to take it, and I want you to put it over here into Medicare. And then, what if I told you that because over here on the private side, all they do is worship profits, means there's more overhead and more waste, and you get less health insurance for a higher cost. When the money goes over here, there's less overhead. It's in the government. It's less prone to waste and worshiping profits, but obviously it has waste. I'm very open to that discussion.
Right, but the idea is these insurance companies are more predatory. Like the government would be running an insurance program not to be for profit, but to just cover everyone.
They're just not as efficient because of the complicated way insurance works. They're just not as efficient.
Well, and with what the priority is, which is wealth.
Which is profits, right.
A lot of the times it's money. It's all about money, which is insane.
Right.
Because it's like, I mean, imagine working for an insurance company and your job was to try and find mistakes in somebody's medical history to deny them coverage. Because that's an actual job that exists. Mm-hmm. And the whole point of it is to just pull a little bit more money. Because, like, these claims can be big sometimes. So if you can shut them down. Like, do you remember Mom and Dad's house insurance when they tried to claim the roof? Dropped them. Just dropped them. They're like, we don't want you as a... Just got rid of them.
Like, that's ridiculous.
That's crazy. Didn't even just say no to the claim. Dropped them entirely. I don't know. It's just... I mean, and that's a little different. But I'm not advocating that we should have house insurance run by the government. But
No.
When you're talking about the medical concerns of Americans, it definitely should not be for profit first. I think profit needs to be part of it, obviously. But as the ultimate goal should be the health and general well-being of the public, if we're concerned.
There's nuanced debate that I'm open to, like if someone doesn't work.
Or is able-bodied and refuses to...
Right, and refuses to work and doesn't pay. But that's so few of the populace. Most of the population works. Like, they just do. Like, it's like... And by the way, most of the population works or is supported by someone who works and, like, stays at home as a mom or, like, what have you. Like, or even, like, some, like... You and some of your friends are... Well, you're about to move out, but... You know, I was in this situation for, like, a year. You've been for a little bit. Like, there's plenty of people who, like, live in another place but still work. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, so most people work. It's not like people are out here fucking sitting around doing nothing. That's ridiculous. So, yeah. But still, I'm open to that conversation.
There's actually, and I'm sure you saw it covered just real quick, but there was that video that was put out about how Medicare for All slows down the system and how you can't get care at a reasonable rate, which is just not true when you look at the statistics.
So
for certain things that might be true, I could totally see that, but
no,
there's a lot of measurements that show that other countries are actually more efficient at getting people in.
For sure.
Unless you have like gold in healthcare.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just hate that talking point. It makes me cringe.
So do I.
It's just not true.
And look, I admit that along with expanding into something like Medicare for All, we need to make a significant investment in expanding the amount of nurses, doctors.
See, that's the thing.
Because like more people are now everybody who works can have care. I think we're adding I think there's like how many people are without insurance in this country? 40 to 50 million. And let's say like 20 million of them work. And let's say another 10 to 15 million are supported by someone who works, so they'll get it too, as they should. Because it's maybe a stay-at-home mom or whatever So you add like another 25, 30, 35 million people into the healthcare system. Like you're going to need more nurses. You need more doctors. But like we don't have to have this.
You need more MRI machines. You need more hospitals.
We don't have to have like limited coverage as even a talking point. Because if that's your talking point, then what's the goal here? Is the goal to actually cover everybody, or is the goal to just keep the status quo? Because it sure sounds to me like you're okay with the status quo, which means a bunch of people are uninsured. And by the way, and I harp on this all the time because I get so sick of people who like come up with these talking points. We already lived in a system where we would still guarantee you a basic form of healthcare called the emergency room, even if you didn't have insurance. And who pays for that?
Right.
When people are poor and they're not working. Well, even not that they're not working. That's a separate discussion. But when people are poor, and you can be poor and working, okay? It's not that difficult in this country. Then who pays for that? The rest of us still do.
Right.
And then it becomes what is it? What's the saying? Like instead of preventative healthcare, it's like I don't know. you know what I'm saying? We should be if you do preventative healthcare.
Oh,
you can minimize the cost down the road
instead of waiting for an emergency to happen.
Instead of just reactive healthcare.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, come on, dude. It just makes too much sense. We're already paying these taxpayers are already footing the bill on these emergency room visits before Obamacare. You know what I'm saying? It's tough for me to. I have not found a good, quote unquote, right way to like I have not found a. I don't want to say right winger way to look at it, but I haven't heard a good right wing argument to like healthcare. Like I haven't.
Yeah, like a good right wing talking point.
If you're gonna tell me straight to my face, well then let's just get rid of the guaranteed emergency care. Then like fine, okay, if that's what you want to do, then go down that rabbit hole. But just as inevitable as it is that people don't like taxes, people also want to have healthcare.
Yeah.
And it is not, there's never going to be any political movement to at least not guarantee someone the right to run into the emergency room and fix themselves. Especially if like it's your child or something or a loved one. Like you're going to tell me that you're just going to say, oh yeah, there's this hospital here that could help you. But like, we're not gonna because you don't have insurance.
Yeah.
Die on the street. Like that's not good. That's never going to be politics. So I don't know what the alternative is as opposed to moving to, you know what I'm saying? Like
one of the most insane things was that before Obamacare, the fact that, what is it called? Where you have some sort of illness or disease coming into or when you're trying to purchase healthcare.
Pre-existing condition?
That's the one, yeah. Insurance companies would refuse people all the time. So somebody would not have healthcare because it's expensive, right? And then they get cancer and they go, oh, fuck, I need healthcare. And then they just get denied.
So welcome to our corrupt lobbying system where literally 95% of people could support things like pre-existing conditions being covered and protected, and politicians still don't give a shit.
Yeah.
And try to get rid of that stuff.
Yeah,
I think that, and also like universal background checks on guns is like 90%, and like we can't get it done.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It's so ridiculous.
That's insane.
Nothing about banning ARs or anything, which is its own separate debate. Universal background checks, we can't get it done.
You know what the problem is too, though, is that these issues are aside enough, right? Like the ones that we're primarily concerned about is what keeps us electing the same representatives that keep pulling this shit, because they know that they can get away with it. It's not the primary things that we're concerned about in this country. We're concerned about abortion. That's a huge part of the focus in this country. And a lot of stuff doesn't get done because of abortion. Other stuff that needs to be addressed. It's just not the main part of the conversation.
I think it's disgraceful and it's obvious big influence hiding in plain sight when we don't set up every single law and rule when it comes to voting to maximize voter turnout. We don't do that, and that's extremely disgraceful. How can you call yourself a democracy if you're not trying to do everything you can to make sure every single person who can vote does vote and gets that registered, gets their voice heard? That means you don't give a shit. If you're not making election day a holiday, that means you don't give a shit. If you're not making all the elections on the same day, including the school board ones that do it in May so that their 27 friends can vote for whatever the fuck they want, then you don't give a shit. Do you know what I'm saying? Like it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
When you don't have open primaries, then you don't give a shit.
Mm-hmm.
It's so dumb. Like we should, as a society, we need to stop blaming people for not voting and understand that. And I still do a little bit. I still want people to vote because we could stop it by just doing it for sure. But we have to accept that it's not going to just happen. And if we want to make sure that we're like not watching democracy melt before our eyes, then we need to fucking make sure everybody votes. Like, Jesus Christ.
Compulsory? Would you make it compulsory?
We spend billions on dumb toys in the military every year. Can we take a few billion and develop a secure app? Okay, that people can log in and just vote from their phone? Fucking get it done. Dude, even like the poorest among us walk around with like borderline smartphones. Like, what are we doing? It's because you don't give a shit. That's why. All right, I'm done with my soapbox.
Yeah, get off that soapbox, dude. That wood's getting old. Been standing up there a while.
Whatever, dude. I think the stuff that I say would resonate, but whatever.
All right. We'll end it on that.
Be a hater all you want. Yeah.